Hi, I'm Nate Caddy. You're listening to the Don Pod.
Welcome to the Don Pod, the supporters podcast. Here's your hosts, Sam and Nate.
3, 2, 1, yeah!
The Dons are outclassed on Anzac Day. Essendon 10 goals 666 to Collingwood 16-11, 107 in front of 92,000 people on a wet, miserable day in Melbourne. Welcome back to the Don Pod. I'm Sam. I'm joined by Nathan, as always. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and sorry to listeners that this is a bit later than normal. I have been away.
Well, this is your fault this week. It was my fault.
It is my fault this week, yes. I went away on the weekend. Just drove back from Marlow.
Yes. We caught up in Melbourne on Thursday.
Person,
in
Peoples.
Person. Had the best thing I've ever eaten, and then we did an escape room, which I'm pleased to report we escaped from. Much
With
to the
2 minutes or whatever, 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, but we were dudded over by the room itself. Things happened.
I felt like we were carried by the 15 and 12-year-olds, though, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, in part, for sure. I think we all contributed.
That felt I did, but anyway.
All right, well, me and your mate did anyway.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bowie if he's listening. Look, a couple of days later, we've had a couple of days to digest and to, I guess, think about it all.
Mm-hmm.
I was okay. I don't know about you. I wasn't overly frustrated watching it after the first quarter. The first quarter was
shit house. Yeah.
After that, I thought, you know what? We were the second youngest team of the week, playing the oldest team of the week, and almost one of the oldest teams ever. They were a couple of weeks ago. A team, Collingwood, who were top of the ladder. You know, I said it last week.
Just come off Brisbane's win.
They're 1 or 2 inches away from probably falling off a little bit, but right now they're very, 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 very good, and it showed. So go through some numbers, talk about what we need to talk about, but I don't think this will quite have the negative vibe we had last week against West Coast.
It's funny. We had a very negative vibe for a win, and
we're okay with a loss, yeah.
Well, yeah.
We're not okay, but
not okay.
You and I sell ourselves on the fact that we talk about how we played.
Yeah.
Because if you play well, wins will come. If you play like shit and win, well, you still played like shit. So it's not really telling you.
Yeah,
much.
We had good moments in this game. We just can't do that for long enough. And is that a youth thing or a quality thing? We don't know.
Bit of both. Why not? So Roberts had 25 touches, as did Merritt. Merritt also had 4 clearances, 6 tackles, and a team-high 567 metres gained. Ben Hobbs was next best with 20, quite a low possession game for us, with 3 clearances, 3 tackles, and a very good opportunistic goal from Hobbs as well. In front of the sticks, Wright, Durham and Caddy kick 2. Perkins, Langford, Kako, Hobbs kick 1. That is the first time this AFL season I've mentioned both Caddy and Kako, a.k.a. Cadco, in the goal-scoring
and I did text Sam when I saw it, when Kako kicked, I think he was the one who kicked the second goal.
Oh, he kicked the goal that put us in front. Yep.
And I've texted you, it's happened.
It's happened. And at that moment, I was like, this is so good for the podcast, because if we win... And that's happened.
Oh, wow.
And then it all went to shit.
Yep. We did all go shit about it, didn't we?
We got in front, and that was probably the last yelp.
Yep.
I'll go through the team stats because, again, not a whole heap to talk about, really. Probably one major thing, but minus 26 disposals, minus 5 kicks, minus 21 handballs, and minus 5 in the contested. Not all too bad, all things considered. Minus 16 inside 50s. That is bad, all things considered. I'll just make sure I got maths right there. I did. Plus 11 hit-outs. Now, Goldie, fair enough, came in and played his role in the ruck. However, minus 14 clearances.
I don't know how to take that.
And we were number 1 in the comp in maybe just centre clearances or clearances in general before that game. So minus 3 at centre and minus 11 at stoppages. And it was
Goldie just hitting it to wherever he wanted. Or were our midfielders just totally outclassed? Because there's a bit of both.
Yeah, someone commented on my post. I can't remember the name, but it could have been just the midfielders adjusting to a different ruckman. Like Draper and Bryan are going to...
But they train with Goldie.
Yeah, I know.
Like he's never met them before.
Yeah, like... but it's a change. It's a big change from having 2 ruckmen that you're kind of sort of getting used to then go to an older guy. Yeah, anyway, I'm just...
Yeah, no, I understand the theory. I just think, it doesn't sit well with me. Like, you still train. You still go to training on Tuesdays, Thursdays. I mean, probably more, but,
Maybe Goldie's been training with the VFL. Like, who knows?
You're right. That's probably very believable.
I'm hoping more than.
But yeah.
Yes.
Anyway,
But
we'll move on.
the grandest issues, once again, to the Essendon Football Club were still Sidebottom, who had 15 clearances.
His career high 15.
It was a record breaking, wasn't it, for Collingwood? They were
Oh,
saying
was
at
it
the
was
end.
it was his best. It's his best ever. I don't know. If
Yeah.
it's, yeah.
It's a lot of clearances, 15.
Yep.
My God. I would be upset if it wasn't in the least bit unsurprising.
Oh, it just was so.
And Dacos of the Nick variety had 11 clearances, although he was probably outdone by his brother on the day.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
think
in
the one that
particular
killed me
stat.
was Sidebottom.
Hmm.
Because I'd said in the podcast the week before, look, we know what's going to. Sidebottom will get 30 touches and kill us. Like, he'll be the one because he just gets the ball and uses it. And so does Nick Dacos too, very obviously. But
You can cop Dacos, can't you?
yeah, because he's 22 and he's a very, very. I can't cop the 34-year-old guy that no one spends any time on. And when I saw someone near him, it was mostly Hobbs. And I was like, oh, God, Hobbs, just try and keep up with him. Like, I know you're doing your thing, but it kills me to watch. Like, just put a hard tag on Sidebottom in the second half. Just see if that helps us.
And even Pendlebury to go further, because it has been those
Yeah.
two that have tormented us for the better part of 15 years.
Yep.
31 touches, only
Yep.
3 clearances, though.
And they're all in their mid-30s and they're killing us. Just that, I think that's the bit, like, there was positives in this game, but I still walked away with a bit of a dirty taste towards the end because I looked at that and I felt like, again, we're a little bit out-coached on those things because we knew that they're going to be their weapons. And I felt like our midfield lost to them. Like,
Absolutely smashed by them.
yeah, what's his name? Setterfield had a dirty day.
Well, interesting. I agree with you. The Essendon website match review had him as one of our best.
Yeah.
I think
How do we gauge that?
don't know. You and I have spoken about Setterfield. That we know his weaknesses.
Yes.
We know what to expect, and I think that hurt us most hurt us for the first time this week.
Yep.
Because Collingwood's midfield. I mean, outside of Sidebottom, because he's 35, Dacos is quick.
Oh, very quick.
Someone else in there, Jacos, the other one, is quick. They had other guys roll through. I can't remember the names. Forgive me. Pretty much all of them except Sidebottom and Pendlebury, who uses his slowness to his advantage.
Yep.
That's what killed us. So often they were out on the outside and they were gone. That was it.
Yeah.
Just gone. Excuse me. So.
Well, it was one of the reasons I was very worried about their pace, and it was one of the reasons why I was hoping Sard might have stayed in the team.
And small forwards. I mean, you called it too. Jamie Elliott kicks 5.
Get killed by what we know. We always get killed by what we know. And yeah. Anyway,
What do you do?
I don't know. I feel like a broken record sometimes is that when we play teams like that we know we can see it coming. But yet we either don't do anything about it or we can't do anything about it. I don't know. Because that's their strength. Like they know their strength. They're playing to their strengths. But we can't seem to negate or defend that in any way.
And we were somewhat fortunate in that one of those other things that we know is that Darcy Moore is a very good intercept player, and he wasn't there to keep bombing on his head. So instead, we decided to kick it on Kako's head.
There was a bit of that. There was a bit of
Tip up?
Yeah, there was a bit of tipper going on. I
Tipper about
did sort of think about that a couple of times.
It just drives me nuts. I want to say last week too, when we were talking about this game, I kept calling Darcy Moore Darcy Cameron, and then I had the audacity to correct you. But I kept saying Darcy Cameron when I meant Darcy Moore.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. I'm usually very bad at that.
And
so
I listened to
correcting
it.
of me is understandable.
Yeah, I know, but I look
Totally.
like a right twat.
Oh, really? Oh,
So I was
let's
getting it
replay
wrong.
that, everyone.
Yeah, I just called myself out for that one.
Yep.
Collingwood kick 44.7 goals 2 from stoppages and 8 goals from turnover. 8 goals 9 for 57. That is all bar one of their goals. Again, that turnover number is far too high. Way too high. And
yep. And we can't kick anything from kick-ins. I know it's not the highest thing, but we still barely kick a point.
well, we were able to get 5 goals from stoppage. So 3 of them each came from centre bounce. So we at least matched Collingwood there. But just turning the ball over. It was a wet day, but again, this is when you see the difference in class. They were far cleaner.
And I felt like when it rained, we got further back. And when it dried up a little bit in that second and a little bit of early third, that's when I thought we were a bit better. But then it rained again and the class went away again.
It is interesting because 107 points from them in the wet is a big number.
Mm,
But then I didn't think 66 for us wasn't
horrible. 10
horrible.
goals.
So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, on to the positives
Yep. Okay, let's do some positives.
because there are a
That's what
couple.
people are here for.
Oh, yeah, we're so good at positives. So it was 5 players' first Anzac Day, and that is Kako, Pryor, the obvious ones because they're new to the club.
Yep.
Caddy, Reed, and Roberts also playing their first Anzac Day. Roberts led the way with 25 disposals.
He's great.
Kako kicks a goal. Caddy kicks 2 goals, 3. Could have had an absolute breakout game and a half. Cads.
What do you think of that mark with him and
He was in front. I think.
But they were both. There was a moment when they both looked at each other and said, "I still want it." Yeah, but it should be mine.
I think for the team, Pete might have been the better call.
I was thinking Pete should kick it.
But man in front. If it's an opposition player in Caddy, it's Caddy's ball. So, and I don't hate seeing him go, fuck this, I got, and he missed it ultimately, but I don't mind the confidence.
Yeah, yep.
So, yes, first Anzac Days for them. However, the biggest standout for me was, I think this is maybe the second week in a row or 2 weeks out of 3 that we've said it, Reed's best
I
game
think 2 out of 3, yeah.
for the football club. 4 intercept marks, 3 of them, or not 3 of them contested, but 3 contested marks. That's separate. 16 disposals at 81%. He had 4 contested one-on-ones and didn't lose a single one.
No, he looked confident.
Yeah. He looked like the only bloke that could take a mark. Him and Ridley, actually.
But there were moments in that game where I went, oh, he's looking like... He all of a sudden, there was growth in him. There was, he also jumped to a 30-game player or a 50-game player, in moments. You go, oh, he's looking like he's really... No, I got this, boys. Step away. I got this.
Was it the Port game we commented saying the lowercase breakout game?
Yes.
Lowercase breakout?
Yeah,
this was uppercase.
Yeah, I agree.
He was rock solid.
Yep.
In the wet. Tough game.
Good opposition.
Very good opposition. Just everything we want to be seeing, I guess, from him, despite the loss.
Well, that's right. We've got to, as I said, I don't think we played well enough. Clearly, we didn't play well enough for long enough. There were patches when we looked good, but there's still massive issues like Setterfield, Shield, like in the middle. I thought that was shit house.
What's interesting to me is we looked the best again when we tried to move the ball quick and we took it on. And that was Durham doing that for the most part. 19 touches and 2 goals and kicked his 2 fairly close together.
Yep.
But got the ball and was able to burst away from the stoppage. None of this chipping around the back. And there was a couple of times, even when were looking okay, that we'd get the ball. I might have kicked it out on the full near the interchange bench.
Yep.
We're going city end, so to the right, and they kick it 20 metres back and then have to kick to a contest.
Yes.
I can't wrap my head around that. If you're going to kick to a contest, do it down there. Yep. Don't kick backwards and then boot to a contest. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Again, this is when I suggest you should watch the VFL.
Yeah, I should.
Because they're trying to do the same thing in the VFL, but they're doing it a bit quicker in patches. And they did it last week against Port Melbourne, and I didn't watch all the Collingwood game on Saturday night. I was busy. Yes. And they were doing it in patches in that game too. So it's obviously the team strategy, and they're developing it through. I think the difference is what I see is that there's a couple of kids, especially that Johnson. He's a beautiful kick of the football. Very good. Yep. As the Archer Day Wicks and another kid too, and I think they're just a little bit quicker in the VFL, the way they move the ball. Whereas I still think we've got a few slow.
This is my issue. I get it. I get what they're trying to do. I get that they're trying to shift the defense and all that stuff. But if you do it with all the pace of a nursing home, of course it's not going to work.
Well, do you know the thing that frustrates me is that in this game we watched the 3 oldest Collingwood players in
history. Sorry, Sidebottom,
and we'll say just Sidebottom and Pendlebury as the 2 main, culprits. Both 34 plus midfielders getting, 30 plus possessions and winning the game for them. Our 2 oldest, if we don't count Merritt because he's very, very good, was Shield, who was shit house, I felt, and Setterfield's probably close to the next oldest midfielder in there, and he was shit house, I felt.
And we're not counting Goldie.
We're not counting Goldie. No, he's only because there's no other options. So That's the thing that really frustrates me is that other teams, senior players, seem to be still going around, and playing really good football. Ours just rock up in a
Well,
big game like that and produce shit.
yeah. I mean, we've been praising Shield the last
We
two
have,
weeks,
but
so
that's been against weaker opposition.
yeah, for sure. But
When the big game's there, he doesn't have the 32 possessions, kick 2 goals. Never.
that's
That's merit. He never does that. I can't
yeah,
remember the last time he did that in big, against tough opposition.
fair.
Hmm.
Uh,
That's all. I just
yeah,
find
no,
that
that's
frustrating.
fair enough. To just circle back, Durham was the one that to take it on, and that's what
Yep.
I feel like got us going.
Yeah.
And I still love how quick he can get the ball and be gone and
Yep.
burst through a tackle, burst through a pack, and he's off. Um, but we just again looked the best when we were able to move the ball quickly. And I again I understand we don't want to kick the ball long down the line every time, but going sideways and backwards,
Side bottom.
sideways and backways, again and again and again and again without any intensity
Yeah. It
also gets us nowhere.
Well, we can only hope that we're wearing down the opposition by making them move, but I don't think we are.
They're not because
That's
they're
that's
going
part
so
of what
slow.
they're
It's
kind
not
of trying to. Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. They're only jogging a little bit to the left, jogging a little bit back to the
I
right.
wouldn't even
Mm.
hate if we took these 45 kicks into the middle to try and open up, and that's the goals we were conceding from turnover.
Yeah.
Because at least then you go, okay, well, we can see what they're trying to
Yep.
achieve.
But then I don't think we've got the kickers. Like I don't know. I think I saw Reed try and take one on, but I don't think no McGrath never takes them on,
No,
or
but
very
Ridley
rarely.
can, Redmond can,
Yep.
Reed
But do they?
might. No, that's what I'm saying.
Mm.
There's no intensity to actually. What
Yep.
teams do is they move the ball side to side and then try and cut through the guts,
Yeah, they're trying to open
or
you
they
up for
get
that
the
middle. Yeah,
space
yeah.
on the outside.
Maybe we're too predictable at it.
Oh, we're too slow.
Yeah.
You become predictable when you're slow. Anyway,
Yeah, but on the positive,
Reed was very good. Ridley was
Reed and
very good.
Kako. Let's talk about
Well, can we
Kako
just
too.
talk about Ridley because he's a defender
Okay.
in that conversation with Reed. 3 intercept marks, 18 disposals at 89%, 3 contested one-on-ones, and he lost 0. Again, very good. Mackay was solid as well, but he didn't have quite as an impressive game as those two.
But the positive is they're getting to play footy together, those three.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that result in a game like that where a team wasn't very good, but you can say some positives out of the three defenders all look really solid. So let's hope that continues on for the rest of the year.
Yes. Forward line, Cadco, if you will.
I will.
It took off. 3 goals between them, 2 to Cads, 1 to Kako. Kako again, the whole game was just there.
He's in his pace and his enthusiasm is so exciting. I think we need
Lunging
a
for
second one.
tackles
Like, we need to find someone else who can do that.
Well, there's a couple more NGAs this year that I believe
Oh,
are
yeah.
small forwards, so fingers crossed. Yeah, just I'm glad to see you got a bit of reward on scoreboard. That was
Yep.
good.
Yes. agree.
Again, Caddy had 5 shots at goals and kicked 2. Could have been a big day for him. Not sure it necessarily would have changed the result, but you get 5 shots at goal. That's a decent day for a forward. And
Well-
I forget what I was going to say. Sorry, go.
Well, I was just going to go back to the Kako point. Is that I think again, you watch the way he plays and the enthusiasm he brings, and I think I get more again a little bit more frustrated by Menzie, who well, I guess he was affected, but probably Gresham again. Yeah, just
No, Gresham was poopy. Yeah.
and Kako's played 6 games now, whatever for the club, 7, whatever round we're into. I still get frustrated by Gresham about what he's playing 180 games. Why can't you be effective in more games? Like just something. Give me something.
And his role isn't to get 30 touches.
No.
It's hit the scoreboard would be nice.
Yes.
But get involved.
Doesn't do that.
Get involved.
Tackle.
Ball use inside
Hassle.
50. Tackle. Pressure. Yeah.
Set up someone. If I'd be okay if he was always the guy kicking it into the forwards. Like he was getting it at 80 and chipping it in. That's his job.
Yep.
But he's not doing anything. He sort of half cocks up the ball at 80 and, does something. So,
frustrating.
again, it makes Caddy and Kako look so much better, I think, because I watch them and go, well, geez, these young kids are really trying to lead the way in this game. They're really trying. Caddy, I think, as you said, was trying to really lift the team.
He was trying to grab the game by the balls, like
Yeah.
just really, really take it on himself. And
Yep.
it's just good to see the both of them having a decent game of footy. Like,
Mm.
again, we lost the game, but positive signs, if nothing else. We don't
Yeah.
expect them to be doing that at this age. Like, it's not like they
Yep.
have to go out and win the game for us, but
No, no, no. But again, it's this gap I'm seeing between our senior player, our older players, and our younger players is that
mm,
that to me,
younger
I'm
players
just
are better.
yeah, the younger players. But like again, Langford is another one who came back from injury, so fair enough. I'll give him a bit of slack.
Oh, he really pissed me off that
Yeah,
first quarter, though.
yeah, but he was pretty again poopy. Like you want to talk a bit of poopy? He was, and I'm thinking again in the first quarter, I was thinking, see, maybe he should have played VFL, like just to get a bit of the speed back, bit of the game, awareness. Maybe we rushed him back too quickly because he looks really poopy.
He did. There were a couple of moments, and it was a lot of Langford, which is what's made me think of it. But just team in general, where we didn't have the connection, that magic synergy word that we
Yep,
talk about. There
yep.
was one time moment, and it was no one's fault. I think it was Merritt knocked it forward, and it was beautiful. It was going to go out in front of him and into space, and he just whacked it straight into Goldstein's ass, and it went back the other way, and Collingwood kicked a goal. And I just went, okay, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And I was pissed off by the umpiring early, but by the end of the game, they were
No, that
fine.
wasn't. Yeah, yeah, that
They
wasn't. Yeah.
they missed a couple of really obvious ones to Collingwood early, truth be told. And after that, it really wasn't a factor. They were fine. But yeah, just moments where we had one guy who was clearly in the right position to pick up the ball and someone else would stick their hand in. And it
Yep.
just took that momentum away from the
Yep.
play.
There were a lot of moments where the little things that happened, like the ball just spat out and Collingwood were just there or in just a little bit better position. The other thing that frustrated me was some of our handballing was just so fucking atrocious in that first half or first quarter, definitely.
When it's
Like we
pissing
couldn't
down
even
rain,
hit hand on ball. Like rain, us and rain is disgusting. Like, can we please go train in the what? Put the sprinklers on. Do the old Kevin Sheedy thing. Put
I've
the
said
sprinklers
this.
on.
Put the fucking sprinkles
Rain
on.
in the rain just to see what a wet ball feels like. Because I feel like we get to that first corner and go, oh, it's slippery. Who would have thought this could happen? What do we do, boys? I don't know. Just
I don't know.
handball it more, I reckon. We'll just handball it heaps.
Frustrating.
Yeah, so
Eh,
and again, okay, I was really positive moments, really good, but we still lost, and I still felt like there was a moment there in that game where we're like, shit, we could sneak away, like we could.
we
And
were
I
looking
reckon if
really
we lost by
good.
2 goals, I would have gone, well, that's a great effort. But
Yeah.
then it turns into 41 points, wasn't it? Or was it?
They did blow it out late to be.
But that's shit on us.
It is shit on us, but yeah, you're right. It is shit on us.
Well, shit
I
on
can-
us that we
I
go,
can-
no, this game's gone. We'll let them kick the last 3.
I can cop losses like this because we're playing top of the ladder. We're playing in front of 92,000 people, which, by
That's
the
great.
way,
That is
fantastic
great.
crowd.
Yeah. Especially for the
wet.
weather. Like,
Yeah, in the wet, and given
Yeah.
we were not in a great space, so it's Collingwood's home game, so it probably helps. But
probably 92,000 Collingwood. Yep.
be more of them for sure. But um, uh, I don't want to celebrate losses. I don't want to celebrate mediocrity. But
No, I agree. Yep.
if you talk about how we play, we were on top of them for a solid quarter of the game, and it's that sort of thing you can build on. Next week we're playing North Melbourne. We're back to that, although they looked good against Port.
But the positive is there that they didn't get flogged, so there won't be a whole bunch of media
Won't be media
attention on them.
attention,
So
yeah.
they're just sort of, they might get a little bit, oh, look at us, we're good again, and then, might
Fall
lose.
flat.
Yeah.
Um,
So I was kind of, when I saw a bit of that game and Port were up by a fair bit, I thought, please don't flog them.
not too
Please,
much.
we do
Yeah.
not need them angry or media attention put on them.
Even still, I mean, North looked okay, and to do that
They
away
did,
from
yeah.
home was, again, a pretty solid effort.
Yeah. Okay.
On our game,
Mm.
one more point for me is I think we pulled the sub too late. I think we went
Yes.
too late with Menzies, and I don't care about his game. He didn't have a great
No,
impact
but he-
when he came on, but when you're the sub, you get a free pass as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
unless you
Still
get
hate the sub. Hate
a
the
full
sub.
game.
Mm.
Needed to go sooner. Only went because Jones
Was in.
had a sore ankle. Not quite sure the extent of that just yet, but it's just too late. We needed that bit of pizzazz and run a bit sooner than that in my
Definitely in the third quarter when they'd started to kick away.
halfway through the third, even when we
Yep.
got in front, just
But-
keep the speed on the game.
But that doesn't surprise me. I mean, I feel like our coaches are slow at or afraid of making decisions. Like it's very
Again, we were burnt last week because we made the sub call a fraction sooner than what we could have.
that wouldn't have made any fucking difference. Like yeah, I don't see that
Well,
as an issue.
but you sub and then immediately lose a player through injury. So we were two
Yeah,
down, well, one down instead
yeah,
of being
that's
11.
that's bad luck.
It is, but
Yeah,
I'm just saying, human
yeah,
nature. Maybe they just
mm,
held on a bit longer, but it
mm.
could have been a bit sooner. Give Menzies a bit more time to actually have an impact.
Yeah, because as a small forward, he doesn't have anything to do with the game. He has 3 possessions or whatever. I think it was
And it
something like
was
that.
pretty meh.
Yeah, which I don't know what you're bringing him in for with that sort of time. What are you expecting from him?
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just I just watched the game by myself. I didn't listen to a lot of commentary.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I muted them after the first quarter because I couldn't deal with it.
yeah, well, the first quarter was I nearly walked away. I was
There
like,
was that one where I think Collingwood's second goal, the Membry goal,
yeah,
I want to say they had was like tackle, they dropped it, tackle,
yep,
they dropped it, tackle, they dropped it, tackle, they dropped it. And then they got three handballs and kicked the goal. And all the
mm,
commentary could talk about was how amazing their handball chain was.
yep.
I was like, they've dropped the ball four fucking times in the 30 seconds preceding that. And we're going to sit here and talk about the handball chain. Like,
Yeah, they
oh,
do
Christ.
ooh and ah over certain players, and I can't handle that part of the commentary. So it was, and then we got back in it, and I was really excited, and I was like, "Geez, we're good." And I'm thinking there was one stage where I thought, "Wonder if we can win it." And then I thought, "Oh, look, I'll take a 2-goal loss at the moment, just against them, who are really good team." And then the last quarter or third quarter, bit of the third and last, and they just blew us away. And I thought that was disappointing again.
Yeah.
Like.
Didn't really feel like it deserved 41 points. It didn't even feel like it got to 41. Like it felt like we were still within maybe three or four
Oh, I did
kicks.
feel it in the last that I felt like we'd run out of like try. So my question to you is: Do you go with Goldie? Do you go with Goldie for the
Yeah.
rest of the year? So you do you
You
look
might
at that plus 11 hit outs, negative 14 clearances, and go anomaly?
an anomaly or
Do you, if it what if it happens against North Melbourne, who very very
very good
very good
ruckman.
ruckman, very
Yeah, we
Xeri,
like Xeri.
yep, and their midfield.
I think, yeah, midfield's quite good too.
Mm.
I think you give him time. Maybe that's 2 or 3 weeks to gel and just
Yep,
to get into that mode. Goldie might need a spell.
he will definitely need a spell. He
I
can't.
mean, he'll get sort of 4 or 5 games and then we'll have a bye, so he gets a week off anyway.
Yep.
But
Towards the second half of the year, though, he'll
second
cook.
half of the
He'll
season,
yeah,
second half
he'll
of the season, if we're
cook.
when we are not if we
Yeah.
are when we are well and truly out of finals contention, maybe then you give Vigo a go. You come up against. Do we play West Coast again?
No, I
Probably.
don't think so. Oh,
Yeah.
but I don't think who you matters who you play him.
I'm just
You just,
thinking of a team.
yeah,
They don't have a real number one ruckman. They've got Matty Flynn, who's a good ruckman and was
yeah,
very
but
good against us
not
last
like the
week.
number
But he's
one.
not
Like
like
you
a
think. Yeah,
Nankervis
yep,
because my brain went to Richmond
yeah, that's a fair point.
immediately.
Mm.
And just give him a run. Don't know, but we'll worry about that.
Yeah, there's not many teams that like Geelong would be the other one I would think don't
Yeah, but
carry a
they're a very
great
good team
ruckman.
otherwise.
Yeah, that's right.
I want to ask you one more question because it's been quite divisive.
Okay, I haven't read a lot of stuff, so
Divisive, the right word on Twitter.
yep.
Andrew McGrath
Mm.
now
Pidge.
kept Bobby Hill statless in the first half,
Yes,
and Bobby Hill's only impact was a very good goal. Let's be honest,
Bobby Hill. Yep,
but
played
there
that
wasn't
game.
a lot
Yep.
you could do in that
Nope.
situation. As a defender, you just got to go, all right.
Yep.
I'll give you shots from there all day. You're probably going to kick one goal 15, but
Yep.
how do you assess his game?
Oh, look, I thought he was good.
But
But like he was very good at defending, which is what we want him to do. But I still feel like he panics when he gets the ball. Like there's two sides to this, and one of it he's defended well. He's
Mhm.
kept his opponent to 1 goal and not many possessions. That is a massive tick. And now if he does that every week, that is a tick every week we can live with.
Yep.
But the other side of it is that a player today in AFL football standards also has to attack. A defender, has to do some other stuff. And he gets the ball and panics, just kicks it, kicks it, kicks it. And I reckon you could pick 3 or 4 moments where he's kicked it from our defensive 20 to about defensive 50, where they've got the ball back again. And what you want players to do, and you see this a bit in the VFL, you want them to handball it out and then carry the ball out and,
Yep.
find options. So I don't know. He didn't kill us because if he does both those things badly, in that doesn't defend and gives the ball over,
Bobby kicks 5. Yeah.
yeah, Bobby kicks 5 and you go, well, fuck me. But he defended really well. He needs to work on that, not panicking when I get the ball.
Yeah, and well articulated because it's not a disposal issue
No.
necessarily. It's a panic issue. It's shit and chuck it on the boot.
You
And he
look at
gets
his
that
kicks; they're all helicopter kicks.
tumbles. I
There's-
was about to say they're tumble
yeah,
punts.
yeah. He's not dropping punt. I see a guy up on the left. I'm going for him. No,
Yeah.
it's like I've got the ball in my hand. It's going to hit my foot and it's going somewhere. It's getting out of my zone.
Going in that way.
Yeah. Hopefully going 50 meters that way. Then it'll come back.
Yeah, no,
So,
well
yeah.
articulated. I think I agree. The disposal still frustrates the shit out of me. But if you keep a guy like Bobby Hill statless, like it was zeros across the board,
Yep.
not sure what happened second half. I'm not sure if he got moved onto Elliott or what happened. But
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on how you look. If you look at it, like Elliot kicked 5. Who was playing on him? It was a bit of Pryor,
yeah, a bit of Pryor
and I thought Jackson was pretty good.
Fine.
Yep.
Got to stop yawning.
Membry was pretty quiet. He only kicked 2. But I mean, it was their midfielders that killed us. Like
Yeah.
their inside 50s were. What were their inside 50s to ours? Well, probably similar now. I've said it, but
Inside
I felt
50s,
like
no, we were minus 16.
minus 16.
16-1-6, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, again, so you look at that. There's the game. Stoppages and inside 50s. Our defenders have probably, when you look at that, done very well to keep it to 40 points. Really. Because they should have, well, they did flog us. But
That and the weather.
is that the midfield? That's clearly the midfield being flogged.
Midfield being smashed. You can't
Hmm.
give. I mean, what do we say that Thingo and Thingo, Sidebottom and Dacos,
15
26
for-
clearances
yeah,
between them. Our top 2 had 10.
Ugh, that's gross. I
So
mean,
the top 4 clearance players on the ground: Sidebottom 15, Dacos 11, Sam Durham 6, and then Darcy Cameron 5.
yuck.
Yeah. So
So the Ruckman's beaten everyone else except for one guy.
except for Darcy Cameron,
See,
that's the correct Darcy, has had
This
more
is-
clearances.
This is why I would have liked to have seen Sardis in the game, because I can kind of deal with his bit of butchering of the ball,
He can win
but
footy.
he can win the freaking football, which I don't think Dylan Shield does as much in these games. Dylan Shield still, for me, is this outside mid. And God, there was one kick early in the first quarter when it was raining, and I barely hit the boot. Did you see that one? And it was just this horrible kick that went straight to a Collingwood, and I was like, oh my God, he's not on today. That's not a sign. So, yeah, I'd rather see Sardis in that midfield because he does win clearances.
Yeah, and I don't know. On Sardis, if we we should do the votes first. God
Yeah.
damn it, ruining my segues. Neil Pickles picked the closest on the post on Facebook, but didn't
Neil
get back
Pickles,
to me.
what a cool nickname.
So again, I didn't.
We'll hear from him.
votes from him. I messaged him on Friday too. Like,
Yep.
I've given him plenty of time this week. People comment and then don't bloody answer me. Anyway,
right.
I gave Reed 3. Best game for the club. Solid as a brick. Just
Are rock or bricks?
solid. Well, the bricks are pretty solid. No, unless you throw them. Solid as a brick shit house. How about that? 2 to Ridley. Again, put him in that column with Reed. And then I gave 1 to Duz. I thought when we got on top, it was because of his pace and able to get the ball out of the middle and hit the scoreboard and really put the pressure back on Collingwood in that second and third quarter. So
Yeah, fair enough.
tell
I'm
me
very
why
similar.
you've done yours wrong.
Well, okay. I've done Ridley Reed merit. So I thought Reed was very good, but I liked Ridley's game. And I think him particularly, it's so important if we can get him back into that All-Australian form, because that makes us a much, much better side. Much better.
Taking some pressure off Mackay is not a bad thing either.
Well, then Mackay can just focus on the guy and just
Yep.
try and play a one-on-one role against the big monsters.
My real question for you
Mm.
was Merritt. I'm not sure he had as good a game as
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm used to from Zach. I mean, it could be just high expectations.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Why have you gone 1 for him?
No, well, I still liked his game. I mean, I guess is what I'm saying is that, I mean, I thought Stuz was very good too, but, well, I thought Merritt was slightly better. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there must have been some thought process. I'm not trying to be a dick and call you out. I'm just
No, no, no. I
curious
know. You know,
why you've
I can't give you a specific. Like, Merritt didn't kick any goals, whereas Durham did.
Yeah, Merritt kicked a point. Yes,
I
25
don't know,
touches.
man.
No, well, again, it's fine. I commented on this to my
There was,
sister.
I tell you, there was a couple of moments that I can think of Merritt giving, like, chasing his ass off to try and, affect something.
Mhm.
And Stuz does that too. But they're the little moments I love of Merritt when he's,
Merritt had 6
res-
tackles.
yeah, 6 tackle. How many does Stuz have?
5.
Well, there you go. That's why I've given it to him
Okay.
tackles.
It's not the 2 goals. It's the tackles.
No, tackles. Tackles are more important than goals.
Fair enough. My sister was commenting on how shit Nick Dacos was about half time, and I was like, "What are you watching, bro? He's killing us." But
Well, that's
I
the
made
first
the
5 minutes
point,
when they kicked the goal.
yeah, which we gave him so much space.
Again, that was Hobbs. I watched Hobbs not go pick him up and really annoyed me.
Yeah,
Anyway, moving
I
on.
made the point that that's the good thing about football. 2 people can see the exact same thing
Oh,
and
yeah.
have 2 different opinions on it,
Very much
and
so, yeah, 100%.
I love that. And it's a
Well,
good
that's what we
mindset.
use. That your analogy for me and
For the
Merritt.
vote, but it is something that we keep in mind with the podcast is that we are offering
This is our
our
view.
opinions
Yeah,
here,
that's right.
not
And we're
anything
not
that
expect everyone to sit there and go, God, these guys are right about everything.
I mean, we are, but yeah, we're not expecting that.
It's what our wives.
We had ow.
Yeah, that's true. She's mine.
We had. We were right like 3 times the other week. That was pretty good, but it's probably as good as it's ever been, I reckon.
True.
On to next week.
Mm.
So we play North Melbourne on Thursday night. So VFL played Saturday night last night.
Yep.
And Elijah Sardis was pulled out. So my assumption is that Elijah Sardis will play against North Melbourne.
Well, that I would assume Shield or Setterfield was injured because Setterfield. I thought Shield might have been he looked a little injured, but
I went before you said injured. I thought you were going to say that one of them would be out. So
I think Setterfield could be dropped, but Setterfield, if he's fit, he actually has a role to play because of Parker. Or even, I'll tell you the other one. Oh, what's his name from North Melbourne? He's been absolute gunning it in the last couple of weeks. Young little midfielder, strong as ever. Warlord, yeah, the Warlord.
Wardlaw, yeah.
Warlord.
Well, it's Sardis kind of has to play because it's that draft. Wardlaw, Sheasel,
yeah.
Sardis. That was the order of those picks.
Well, I think I was disappointed he didn't play, to be honest, in the Anzac game because I felt like he explained this to me. Why he doesn't get a game after having 30 touches in the VFL and he's the number 5 pick. He's either no good and we've made a massive cock up, or you just play the damn kid and let him work it out.
He wasn't dropped.
No, he was injured the week.
He was injured.
When he went out of the
didn't
game.
go out
He
of the
broke his
team
hand
because
or
of
finger or whatever.
poor form. It was bizarre. Anyway,
and he'd been all right in those first few games.
Yeah, no issues. Well, apart from his disposal, but like I said, we can live with that. I can.
But how do we work on that? We just let him play, and if it doesn't get better, then in 3 years, okay, we'll say we tried and it didn't work. But if all of a sudden he starts playing 3 or 4 games, where he's kicking the ball and hitting targets, and we're going, hey, look at this, he's getting clearances and hitting targets.
Win-win.
But that doesn't happen in the VFL anyway.
Anyway, VFL Essendon defeated by Collingwood 88 to 119. Boo. Yeah, we had him early, I thought, and then I turned it off and went to bed because I'm an old man.
You are an old man. Saturday night, and
I know. I have to go back to work tomorrow, and I'm just.
Oh, we had to catch up Saturday night. You couldn't catch up Sunday.
Yeah, well, I mean, I paid for it because I was awake at 4 o'clock this morning.
Yep.
Did
you watch any of Zach Johnson?
Well, no, I saw a highlight. I saw his goal he kicked, which was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
What I did see was them calling Gerine. So once again, I have no idea what to call him. I'm going with Gerine because that's what I thought it was.
Okay.
Gerine kicks 2 goals, 3 and has 14 disposals. Davey Jr., 2 goals. Sard kicked 1 goal, 2 and 5 marks. Zach Johnson, the one we probably need to talk about the most, a goal and 33 touches. Lewis Hayes, 19 touches, 10 marks. Vigo, sorry?
I was going to say he was very good again at Hayes.
Vigo, 27 hit-outs, which was a game high, and 21 touches. And then I've got there that Sardis was left out. And the only player we have to consider through injury is Jones, who honestly might have been on the chopping block anyway.
I would have put him very close to the job. His game the week before was shit house against West Coast, and probably even the week before that. It started when he was sent into the ruck when Nick Bryant went down. And because he started it right in that quarter, remember? And we
Yeah, he kicked the first two. He kicked the first point and then the first goal.
and then he went in the ruck, and we thought, God, he turned to shit after he was sent to the ruck, wasn't he? He's
Yeah.
been shit since
Don't
that
blame
moment.
him. Don't
Yeah,
blame
he
him.
doesn't like to run up against other men.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
If I told you the story about that one time I rucked,
You would have run away, wouldn't you?
I forgot to jump and got a knee in the eyeball. So,
That doesn't surprise me, Sam.
yeah, that doesn't surprise me either. Zach Johnson, 33 touches and a very nice goal. It was late. It was in the last minute or so. Just absolutely burnt a Collingwood player on the turn and booted it from 50. It was a very nice goal. I did see that.
His kicking's elite.
Yes, I have heard that. Ryan's the other one who...
You're very interested in him.
Well, I am.
I don't think he's ready.
Okay, fair enough. I need to...
I think he's talented. Very, very talented. But I don't think he's ready.
Did you see when we're playing North Melbourne in the VFL this week?
Where?
When?
Probably the same times where I probably fucking...
2 o'clock Friday afternoon.
That's just a stupid time, isn't it? Like, who's watching football?
2:05.
Who's watching football, or who's
And
going to a
it's-
local suburban ground on 2 o'clock on a Friday?
afternoon. And it's
Not a public holiday.
Oh, I'm off work actually. Oh, maybe I can go. It's at Windy Hill.
I retract everything I just said because someone will be.
I want to go. I want to see. And
Well, go.
I'm going to.
Don't live that far.
The last 2 games have been in Port Melbourne.
Yes.
Not quite sure why the Collingwood one was. Was it
don't
just a
get
crowd thing? They were expecting
know.
more people.
Don't know. I don't know enough.
Anyway, so it is a home game for us down there at Windy Hill. So if you don't have a job or have the day off, something to do Friday afternoon, as long as it's not pissing down rain.
You'll go though, even if it is, and take
Yeah,
like
I
an
will,
umbrella.
because there's the undercover. I do have an umbrella for school
Yeah,
drop-off, so
it'll be
there's one
sorted.
in the car. There you go.
Any
Anyway,
changes then?
well, I'm going to say Jones out.
Yep, definitely.
Sarda's in.
I'm going to say Shield out as well, or I still think Shield got an injury, but
Okay, well, if he's injured, obviously that's fine. On form, no, I'm not dropping Shield. I'm dropping Setterfield. I get that. I get what Setterfield brings, but I'm not sure he's able to do it against a quick midfield.
No, but the problem there is that you're saying form for Setterfield because of one game, because the other 2 games were fine. But Shield, who also was a bit poopy, is the
Shield
same
has
form.
more upside for me.
Yeah, he definitely does have more upside, but Shield can't tag any motherfucker. Whereas Setterfield can at least put some weight and pressure on, say, Parker when he rolls through the midfield, or the Warlord when he rolls through. Like,
You're not wrong. I just think you're full of shit. No, you're not wrong. But I can't pick between them. But all I can tell you is I want Sardis playing over one of them.
Yep. Here's my big bold statement. I would keep Setterfield in, and Shield probably if he was fit too. I would drop Hobbs.
No, Hobbs had a really good.
No,
solid-
he turns the
Three-quarters.
ball over. He kicked an important goal. He still does things that I don't like about him, and the things he does. I would rather him have a couple of VFL games and work on what role he's trying to play.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, okay, you might have a point. So 20 disposals. He went at 55%.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah, shit.
your one vote, Zach Merritt, had 25 touches at 48%.
Yep, that's fine.
So
Don't throw it back at me like that.
Nathan is suggesting we drop Merritt. You heard it here first.
Yeah, wanker.
We'll just
Anyway.
start the riots on you.
Because again, if we have Hobbs and Sardis in the team, then all of a sudden you're building in more turnover kings. Whereas Sardis gets the footy, Hobbs can get it. I'm not doubting that.
Here's a shout. What about Gresham?
Oh, definitely I'll drop Gresham, but there's no. He seems to get a pass.
Okay, but just for Sardis, would you?
But then who's your high half forward? Is Hobbs playing that high half forward? And because he had a few CBAs, I think, and I know he did the week before too.
Perkins play a little bit higher.
Perkins definitely, or Langford could play higher.
There you go. There's options.
Yes, I don't doubt that. I'd also like to be honest, I'd actually like to see Davey get in instead of Gresham, Menzies, because Menzies now had a couple of games. Again, I hate the sub rule, and Menzies had a couple of games now where he's been in a sub or out of a sub, and I'm like, well,
He's only
Push
had
him.
one sub game.
The week before, wasn't he the one that went out? No.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe I could be wrong there. Sorry.
I'll check it.
That's fine.
That's my
It's not worth.
child just scaring the crap out of me. Don't
Yep.
mind me.
No, that's fine. I just would like to see Davies had kicked 3 goals last week and what 2 or 3 goals this week. And if you've watched him, I'm loving his pressure and his speed around that forward contest. So he's got that going. And I think with what we're loving about Kako, I'm not saying Davies is exactly the same, but he's got a bit of that going on, which Gresham doesn't have. Gresham not bringing pressure to the forwards.
No, agreed. The last two subs have been Gresham and Draper. No, Gresham and Brian. Sorry,
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
it was
All right.
Gresham
Yeah, don't worry
against
about
West
that.
Coast, and then
Well, maybe Menzies comes into the team and Gresham goes out, and
I mean,
then
I can't understand why Menzies wasn't in the team anyway. He's in some goal kicking form. Why boot
Yeah.
that out to the sub? I don't understand that to
Yep,
begin
he
with.
kicks 4 goals one week, then he plays the next week and kicks one or none, and then he's in the sub vest the week after that for pretty much 90% of the game.
And this is going to sound silly. He's a decent size for the wet.
Yeah,
I
he's the
constantly
perfect player for the wet.
constantly surprised at how big he actually looks when you see him in real life. It's bizarre.
Yep. So
Anyway.
we can guarantee there'll be minimum changes because Brad Scott consistently does not make changes.
Yeah, we know that.
He just drops. He doesn't drop anyone. I don't think he actually just puts injured players out and brings in someone else.
I don't think anyone necessarily needs to be dropped. I don't think there is anyone that horrible, but we're reading between the lines a little bit that Sardis will come in, so someone's got to go out.
Well, Jones is definitely going out. So there's
Yeah, whether or not that's the only change, but
because it's a rejig then of your forward line a bit. But I mean, if your VFL former Johnson and Davey Junior goes on for another 3 or 4 weeks, they deserve a shot. Because
ADJ is easier to slot in.
yeah, because if Gresham's he's kicked 3 goals for the year or something like that, or 2 or 3 goals for the year. Yeah. I mean, I know he's a high forward, but he's still got to kick a goal, doesn't he? Like,
you think so?
you'd think
It
there'd be
depends
like,
what he's
I don't
wrong
know,
with.
20 for the year expectations.
For God's sake, can I just tell you about my draft super coach very quickly?
Okay, quickly, yes, go.
I'm playing someone who's quite good. He's second. I'm first on the ladder.
Yep.
Undeserved first. I'm not really
But
tooting my own horn
you're
there
first, so
too
you're
much.
first. Let's not.
I was having a great round, and then I thought all I've got to do is have Matty Rowell just play to his standard that he's been playing at, and I'll be fine. Got 69.
That's gross because I think
honestly,
I needed him too.
He's up on where I thought he was going to be because he was on about 20 at halftime, and I thought he'd been injured.
Oh yeah,
But
I needed him in classic.
I did put
game.
the vice captaincy on Steel Sidebottom because
That's a
these
solid move.
Sidebottom and Pendlebury just murder us every
we
time.
know-
So
we
I
know
thought,
that.
you know what, I'm going to do it.
Well, I had Nick Dacos, so
Yeah, easy.
although the guy I was playing had Drake, so we're well off track here. Had Gorn, who had 170 something.
Yeah, he had a good game. Yep.
So, and I'm going to lose by about 100 points, which is basically the difference between the captains. So that'll hurt.
No, you're fine. You're predicted to win still.
Oh, I thought I wasn't. Oh, that's
No,
good.
you're projected to win.
Yeah.
I love this draft league. I think people need to get on board with this next year and do a Don Pod one because it adds such an extra layer of interest.
I've always loved it. I've been telling you that.
Yeah, anyway, so that just about does this. Just quickly, I did do an MCG tour yesterday. Took my daughter for her first MCG experience, and the Essendon change room still had all the Essendon gear up.
And you stole how much?
Lots of it, but we were in there and
Pocketed a few little.
they're too big. There's no pocketing.
The water
anything.
bottle? What about the water bottles or something like that?
Oh no, just the advertising boards around the room.
That would be hard to get into your back pants.
Bit hard to get.
fair enough.
Old Malcolm might have noticed that. But so we walked out of the rooms and up the race that we would have walked up Friday and out onto the MCG. And
That's cool.
Even if you live in Melbourne, it's a really cool thing to do if you've never done it. I mean, it's such a. You got no idea what's in that MCC stand unless you remember.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most like unbelievably rich area for a football ground. Anyway, there's little bronze etchings of all the AFL teams as they came into the league,
Oh, yeah. Cool.
and the Essendon player has 6 fingers.
What?
Yeah, because he said once you make a mistake with the etching, like that's it, it's over. you just got to keep going. And yeah, the Essendon player has 6 fingers.
That's embarrassing.
So if you go, look out for that.
All right. Yeah, well,
On that note, that'll just about do us.
yes.
Thursday night game against North. We should have the old review out a bit quicker.
Yeah,
next
we'll be
week,
doing
I
it
presume,
Saturday morning, I imagine.
because our socialing is done for the year.
Yeah, I won't be going out again for another at least month or two.
I really did have a lot of fun with you and your mob
Thank you, Sam.
last week.
We had Korean barbecue for lunch and we're so happy. It was so good. The food
I
was
can't
so
remember
good.
where it was, but
No,
that place.
It was McKillop Lane.
Killip Lane, there you go, in the city. And I
Oh.
just...
It was so good.
You just had off the menu sort of a la carte stuff. Me and your mate Bowie, who's a good guy. Don't know how you managed to
Great guy.
get a mateship with him. But anyway,
Well, pretty fucking awesome.
we had the barbecue on the chuck. Oh my God. It was such a vibe. We had the meat, we had beers, and just
Well, what was unreal too is that we'd walk down a really busy, the other lane where that
hardware lane. Yeah.
yeah, hardware lane was packed. And we're like, oh, I don't really feel like that. We walked past this Korean, and it was empty. We thought, oh, it's a bit risky going into an empty place, you know. Sat down, and it was just the best.
Yeah,
It was unreal.
fucking awesome. Yeah. Wish I could remember the name of the place. I tried to Google it, text you, you didn't answer me.
I've been driving. I've just.
I texted you on Friday, bruh.
I'm not very good with people. Did you like my? Anyway, we're going to wrap this up before I start hanging crap on him about the picture I sent him about the Axeman.
I don't get it. What did you send me?
The picture of us in front of the axe place.
Oh, yeah, because I wanted to go axe throwing, and then you said no, so I left, and then you sent me a photo of you all looking very happy outside the... It's hilarious.
Such a funny man.
Didn't for a second think that you'd done it. I knew it was.
No, we
just
just
a
stood out the front,
ruse.
took a photo. Of course
I
we
know.
did.
Otherwise, you would have taken a photo of you throwing the fucking axe.
Yeah, true.
Tickets. Anyway,
Yep.
that is enough about our fucking life. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you listening as always, and go Dons.
Go Bombers.